Alrighty. Let's get it going here. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Good evening once
Good
again.
evening.
It's that time again.
Here we are.
Saturday.
Another Saturday night.
Ready to go.
You and I.
Jaquez,
And the
hello.
public. Hi, Jaquez.
Michelle Cooper, hello.
Michelle, hi.
What's on? Jumping in. Come on down. Let's talk a little bit, have some fun, and get serious, whatever we got to do. Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you back with us once again.
Yes.
This is Conversation, Pam David, and we are back on a Saturday evening. Let me just tilt a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, that's better.
There we go.
Okay.
Back at it again with you to talk about what's happening this week. And there's always something happening
Always.
this week, right?
Yes, there is.
Right. Yeah.
Current events.
Yeah, what's going on with you?
Where should I start? Where should I start?
Where should I begin? Can I get this one? Okay, come on. There you go. Now you say, where should I?
Yes.
It was done off the side here.
Mm-hmm.
Where you been?
Huh?
Well,
I've been
I've been in the church all day.
Yes, you were.
And we had a lot of stuff going on down there. Made some changes, looking pretty cool.
Yes.
And I think people will be pretty happy tomorrow with what they see. Of course, my back is hurting. And the rest of the guys that were with me, I think they're a little worn out as well. It was quite a long day, but we got a lot done and looks pretty nice inside. So excited about the changes
Progress.
that people are going to experience tomorrow at Destiny Preparation Church at 11:30 a.m.
Yes.
If you come in the building.
I can't wait to see.
Yeah, you can't really see it online, but it's all interactive. It's all interconnected now to what happens online, so we can still show stuff online in the church, on stuff in the church online, and just all kind of fun stuff. So we have a lot of fun with that as we really learn how to use everything. But yeah, come check us out. 11:30 a.m. Destiny Preparation Church. You can always join us here on the Facebook page. But if you're here in town and you come tomorrow morning, you'll see things are moving along very nicely there. So welcome everybody once again to the program. Glad to have you with us again. Want to talk about some current events that are happening over the past week or so. And there's several different things obviously are going on. Some of them I didn't even write down, but one of the things I didn't write down is we've been talking forever about vaccines and things like that. Vaccines are now all over the world.
Yes.
In different areas.
Yes.
So apparently Afghan refugees now have to be vaccinated before they can come to the United States.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
So before they can get on the plane, they have to get vaccinated.
Well, what about the refugees that they sent over here already?
Don't know. They're already here.
Are they going
Hopefully.
to backtrack?
Hopefully.
And have them vaccinated?
I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
People coming into the country. And so actually President Biden now is beginning to reopen the doors of the country to people who come in who are vaccinated. It's been still very iffy in a lot of places. Even Canada has had trouble getting in at this point in time. And remember all the refugees that were showing up at the border, the southern border as well. And so all of that, they have a lot of that stuff now on hold because of, remember they were coming in from Haiti.
Yes.
And so as a result of that, they were trying to, they were holding them because they were concerned about all these thousands of people coming over the border that had not been vaccinated and could be risked and exposed, et cetera, so forth. So that was one of the main reasons they were sending them all back.
Right.
That was hopefully one of the reasons. But
anyway,
now, they're requiring everybody to be. Anyway, so just one of those little tidbit things going on. One of the big stories going on this week has to do, and by the way, hello to everybody else that's coming on and joining in already. We got a lot of comments up here already.
Yes.
So welcome to everybody that's connecting up with us. Feel free. We're here to talk to you.
Yep,
and
that's
to
why
get your
we are
feedback and your input as well. So feel free to, what do they call it? Pipe in. Is that right?
Yeah.
Am I saying it right? Pipe in,
Tune
whenever.
in, speak
Tune in,
in.
jump in, wherever. And whenever, if you have some thoughts, comments.
Your opinion.
You can even call us, by the way.
Exactly.
Did you know they could call us?
Yeah, right. It's right there.
There's a number right here. Right there. There it is.
Let me say it. 951-799-9032.
Dr.
Dial up.
Hobbs. Hello. Good evening to you, sir.
Hello.
Yes, you can call us and join in the conversation that way as well, or you can just kind of sit back in your comfortable chair and use your thumbs or type or whatever you're going to do and make comments. That's fine as well.
What is this?
That is for the church's trunk or treat event.
Oh, okay.
That's a whole nother story.
Yes, okay.
So it's got stuff buried up here. Anyway, wanted to talk about Jon Gruden, which is a really story that went on this week. It started actually last weekend. Everybody's not necessarily following football or football fan, but Jon Gruden was the head football coach of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yes.
He's been there. I think he's in his 4th year there of a $100 million contract. I think it's 4 out of 10 years of a $100 million contract, something like that. But no longer with the Las Vegas Raiders. Right. He is now officially, you might say officially retired, but you can say he got fired.
Resigned.
He resigned, however you want to call it.
He's no longer there.
He's no longer there.
Yes.
And the reasons why he's not there are what's really somewhat concerning.
Yes.
Apparently, a while back, there was an investigation. Everybody remember, I think it was last year, there was all this for all the football folks.
Yes.
Big skirmish last year about the Washington Football League. Remember, they changed their name.
They changed the name. They can no longer make reference to the Native Americans.
Right. But they had all kind of other stuff going on apparently behind the scenes as well.
Yes.
And so they were investigated, they were fined, et cetera, so forth. But on top of that, in the midst of this investigation, they were looking through all of their emails, right?
Yes.
And as they were looking through the emails that were there, and by the way, Genova Hobbs wants to stand correct to say hello to both of us.
Oh, hello.
We got that. Thank you, sir.
We got that. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So, they went through all the Washington Football League emails for like a couple years back.
Yes.
And in doing that, they came across other stuff.
Well, do you know what prompted them to go through these emails?
Well, one of the things had to do with some accusations from their cheerleaders.
Exactly.
Would you like to share a little bit about that?
Oh, wow. Yeah, exactly. Well, there were the cheerleaders felt like they were being sexually harassed, and there were some not nude, but topless photos that were shared between Gruden and Bruce Allen. Yes.
Who's Bruce Allen?
Oh my goodness. He was the executive
from the Washington Football League?
Yes, yeah. Exactly. And those emails were passed between the two. So from there, it just started snowballing. Those photos appeared like, I think, 2020 last year or so.
Yeah, everything blew up like last year.
Yes.
Apparently there was a photo shoot that the cheerleaders were doing.
Yes.
And
as usual,
right.
On some island.
And apparently in the midst of this, some pictures were taken of them while they were changing.
Yes.
So we don't want to make it sound like they posed for these photos.
Yeah, willingly, because they did not.
In the midst of this, so somebody got these pictures and they started circulating those pictures amongst different people in the executive branches of the football league and apparently elsewhere.
Exactly.
And so the cheerleaders complained. And that's what got that investigation started. That's the part of the misconduct.
Yes, he was
because there was more in Washington.
He was the general manager. Yes, that's right.
And there were a few other. The whole way that they were treating women was a complaint.
Yes.
And they got that whole thing going. So in the midst of all that investigation, they ran across this other thing. What's this? Right. And so it led them back to conversations that were happening with Jon Gruden and others that were period. Some of the comments that he had made, some of the statements that he had made about other people in the league.
Yes.
And which kind of started getting people riled up.
Yes.
And so this all came back most recently and got exposed that he was making all kind of
racist statements,
homophobic. Right. So keep in mind,
insulting to women. So obviously
first of all,
with the photos,
right? So there was the person that is over the NFL's Players League is an African American, and so he was making negative statements about him, and he was upset, and so he was making all kind of racial statements, racial statements about him.
Yes.
And according to John, it was because he was mad because of the players' strike.
Right.
Right.
It was DeMaurice Smith. He made a statement about his big lips.
He made a statement about
he's
him.
A black man. Said he had big lips.
DeMaurice Smith. He made statements about Roger Goodell, who's the commissioner.
Yes.
He made statements,
homophobic statements,
and also he made a statement protesting or saying negative things about the drafting of a pronounced
diversity.
No, about a gay player, right? He had announced himself as gay, publicly announced himself as gay.
Yes.
And he was up for he was drafted, and Gruden had a lot of Now, interesting thing is there's a gay, publicly gay player on the Las Vegas Raiders team, right? And he's saying these negative things about somebody that's being drafted. So how do you think that flies over with everybody?
Yes, not so good.
And so now that this is out, several of his former players are saying that's Jon Gruden. Yeah. He was like that all the time. He actually won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay several years ago and was a very well-known coach, obviously, because of that. He did commentary for many years before coming back to coaching with the Las Vegas Raiders. Y'all know I keep trying to say Los LA Raiders. Y'all know.
Yes.
Those that have been around a while know what I'm talking about. But anyway, he is, the point being here is that this is a significant person,
right,
in the echelons and the establishment of the NFL. He has been around, he has been recognized, he's well known, and he's well connected.
Well connected, right.
Right.
You know, something else that he spoke out against, or that they actually saw in the emails, he was against this the Rooney Rule. Have you heard the Rooney Rule?
No, what's the Rooney Rule?
The Rooney Rule is the idea that if there is a head coach position, that they must interview a candidate, at least one candidate that is of diversity.
I know the rule. I just
that's what it's called, the Rooney Rule. He was against that.
Okay.
Yeah, he and a lawyer for the NFL actually had exchanged emails regarding that as well. He also spoke out in an email about the conspiracy against Colin Kaepernick, that the NFL actually, they conspired to keep him from being hired.
So what did he say about it?
Oh, he agreed with it.
He was agreeing with keeping him out?
He agreed with it. But he actually confirmed that it was a conspiracy, by the NFL to do so.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. He said a lot of things
so he had a lot of stuff
to hang himself.
And so here's the point. It's not even just about him.
Right.
Right? Because, again, he's part of the establishment. He's not having these conversations by himself.
Exactly, but they want us to believe that.
Well, there's more to come.
Exactly.
Right? And that's why people are saying now that they're demanding that the NFL make all of these emails available to the public. Because this is the point, is it's not just about him. It's about a quote-unquote good old boys club. It's
good old boy network.
Well,
this that's who owns it. Am I correct?
Sure.
The NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the teams are owned by white men. I don't think there is any team yet. Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. I don't think there's any team in the NFL that's owned by African Americans.
I don't think so. How many teams?
32.
32, 31, something like that.
So, I mean...
Do you know how many emails they found?
Oh, gosh, no. It must have been a lot.
600.
Yeah, it was over a couple of years, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, they have all this...
That's a lot.
So the real concern is this is what goes on behind the scenes. And the issue with that is that this represents not only the NFL, but a lot of businesses and a lot of own organizations, businesses, not just to, that it's been this way for a long, long time.
Yes.
You've known things going on behind the scenes, behind the boardroom talk, et cetera, so forth.
Yeah, locker room banter.
Right. And not just locker room. I mean, it's a big business world as well.
Exactly.
These are the things that people have been struggling and fighting against, these kind of hold me backs and these kind of negative things and comments, and everybody's gonna say, well, we have a right to an opinion, right? Conversations, that we want to have. But these are things that hold back, now society as a whole, number one, they hold back equality, they hold back fairness, et cetera, so forth. And it points to the fact that there's a mindset that still continues to exist.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That just believes certain things, regardless of what they say. Because here's the thing that really kicked me, right? His statement when he's apologizing last week, making his press conference in this picture here, his statement is, I'm not a racist. right?
Well,
I'm not a racist. I'm like, you're not a racist. You just talk like
you
one.
just talk like one.
Right? You just act like one, but I'm not racist. This is the point. How many people do you think really do believe that not me, I'm not a racist? I talk about this kind of people and I talk about this and I do this and I say this, but I'm not a racist. How many times have you heard that? And do you really think these people, now here I go, people that talk like that and don't consider themselves a racist, do you think that they really believe that, or they just cover it? I mean, have they really psyched themselves in their minds?
I think they have psyched themselves. I think they have become so comfortable within their culture, and then we'll call it the good old boy network in this case.
Right.
They become so comfortable with what they say that I don't think they even realize that if someone else hears this, they're going to consider it to be racist, or they just don't care.
I think they mentally check themselves out of that category, but that means they see that category as being something different from them. So what do they see? I mean, do they see it as those who are, like out on the street with the pitchforks, or the gangs that are ready to shoot people, or the KKK? I mean, is that what are they comparing to themselves to say, well, I'm not a racist? Because they got to be saying, well, they are, or that group would be, but I'm not that.
Oh no, my brother Bishop Clark, he's on there. He says people know who exactly who they are.
Right?
Well, I think racists know when they are racist because they stand by their racism and their actions very strongly.
I really debate this because I think some of them absolutely know who they are, and they're gonna deny it in public.
Right.
Some of them won't deny it in public. Right. But I think that, just from the way some of these people respond and the way they behave, and they get this like shocked look when somebody says, me?
Yeah.
You think I'm me?
When they have been exposed. When they have been exposed.
Two minority owners.
Shad Khan of Jacksonville. And Kim Pegula, Asian, Buffalo Bill. She's the wife of Ken, I think is his name, Pegula here in Buffalo. Okay.
So partial owners, minority owners, but actually owned by a true African-American majority group. We're starting to see that in basketball, right? I don't think we've seen it in hockey because y'all don't play hockey.
Us people?
I'm just saying. I didn't say nothing. But
we don't like the colds.
But basketball, you're starting to see some ownership.
Yes.
But, actually getting ownership, because honestly, that's one of the things that does start changing some things.
Oh, yes.
To a certain degree, when you're still 1 out of 32, it's still something. Terry Pegula, thank you, Terry and his wife Kim. But that's ownership starts enabling you to have an influence. Far too often in the past, in order to have ownership, you had to align with everybody else, and so you didn't have the same effect. Now, when you have somebody come in and they've got money and they step in, they behave a little bit differently, but there's still this question of this mindset of, do these people, I just think there's this group that thinks that some of the things that they say and do is just the way we talk, but I'm not and the guy who earlier this year, the country and western singer, who got basically exiled
we talked about
for a certain period of months, right?
Yes.
He was the number one guy in country music, and they called him in the background, and he's, talking, calling his friends the N-words, stuff like that, right? And when they finally did an interview with him, I think Michael from Good Morning America, he did an interview with him, and really, I mean, just listening to what he has to say, he was probably more open, honest to say, I just thought this is what we did. This is just how we talk to each other.
That was how they talk.
But and I think, but I'm saying in his mind, he didn't see that as being a racist. He saw that as that's just how me and my boys talk to each other. And others said, look, you ain't just about you and your boys. You talk that way all the time.
All the time.
But the point
Morgan
was,
Whalen.
his mindset seemed to be, that's just what we do. That's not being racist. My point being, they segregate themselves to say, I'm not racist. They would be, but I'm not that, right? And the same thing with the young lady again this year with The Bachelor and the Black Bachelor.
Yes.
And he was, falling about to get engaged to the white girl, and all of a sudden they found all this stuff on her page from in the past. And again, she's like,
but I'm not a racist.
I didn't realize that was wrong or that blah blah. I think that there's a group of people, I'm saying that it's not just black and white in terms of, I think there's a group of people that feel like they do certain things, but that in and of itself does not mean they're racist. Well,
that's what they think. But I think it is okay within their culture, within their community, with their group of people. That is acceptable. It's acceptable for them to make racist comments. So when someone outside of that group or that culture confronts them with it, then they're like, well, I'm not racist. Or then they realize that, maybe I did make some racist statements. But I think they just become very comfortable.
Certainly for one thing, it needs to be brought to their attention. But you would think that they've seen it in and around enough to know, hey, if you do X, Y, and Z, that is not considered appropriate.
Yes,
right?
But if you are born and bred into something, it's difficult to change that. I mean, it can happen. Yeah. You can change.
Especially again when you're in an environment where
that environment. That's
environment
my point.
Is hey, G's gonna join us.
That's
hey,
my point.
Genova.
Oh, okay.
It's when you're in an environment where it's almost supported, right?
Right.
It's not considered negative. It's socially normal
for them,
right?
For that group.
And then in the midst of that, then you get called out, right? You get called out when you come outside of it.
Exactly.
But as long as you're in it, you're like, yeah, I can say that. We all say that. Everybody say that. That's just what we do.
We say this is what we do.
Right. Exactly. Hey, let's get Genova on. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Uh-oh. Not hearing anything. Genova, are you there? I see you on our line.
You have it on?
Yeah, oh yeah, I got it on. Anybody got to be my fault. Genova, are you there? Well, we can't hear you, unfortunately, right now. Try and see if you can call us back or something, because you're not coming through. I don't think anything is wrong back up. Put my number back up. All right, your brother wants us to put the number back up.
Okay.
You should know the number by now, man. You're supposed to have it memorized. Gee, I see you on, but we can't hear you. I'm sorry about that. So, this is kind of the weirdness of it, right? Because people, like I said, by now you would think that people would get it that, just because you do it in your circle. This was his circle.
Right.
Right? This is Jon Gruden's circle.
That's his circle.
His circle, associates, affiliates. And again, I'm sure he wasn't the only one, because if he was the only one, people wouldn't just be sitting back saying that's cool. Right. It's because you have a circle, and in your circle, everybody is okay with it or tolerant of it, that it continues. Otherwise, it wouldn't.
Right.
And so this goes back to, again, the whole aspect of who are the people and what's the character of the people that are leading an organization that has such an African-American, for example, population in it. Right. And supporters, right? Exactly. The people, the players, I don't know what the percentage is of African-American players in the organization.
But there are quite a few.
Oh, yeah, there's a whole bunch, right?
Yes.
In other words, they're making money because of
the players.
These kind of players.
But
in
yet
the
you have a racist attitude, racist mindset.
Well, everybody said, except for the longest, there were issues with people. Okay, people coming in out. But everybody said for the longest, finally, there you go. Okay, your brother's on. Everybody said for the longest that, there were issues with, they didn't even want to make an African-American a quarterback.
Exactly. Right? I remember that.
And it took a long time for them to do that. And they haven't looked back since, I'll tell you what. Because some of them have done extremely well.
They're very well, yeah.
Okay, Carol, can you hear me? Can you speak to us? Because if I can't hear you, we in trouble on my end. You there? I see you talking. Say something again.
I think it's.
Oh, it's got to be on my
it's
end.
on our end.
What are we doing? What are we? Why are we not hearing you? Hang on. Let me just check something. Oh, I know why. I know.
The audio.
It's my bad. I'm sorry. G, stay on the line. We'll get back to you. Carl?
There are two participants in the conference.
That was on me.
Please announce yourself.
Carl, you there?
I can hear you now.
Okay, that was on me. That was on me. Hey, listen, I'm going to put you on hold for a second.
Yes, I am. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm going to put you on hold for a second. Go back to Genova because he called first. That was my mistake. Hang on a second. Hang on the line. Genova, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay.
Oh, it was me. I did it. It was me.
Oh man.
Man, I need to blame the operator.
In the head to that.
Got to blame the operator. How are you doing?
Well,
how you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. You kind of keep going in and out on me. I don't know if it's my phone or what.
Well, we hear you nice and clear now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, what I just wanted to comment on was just some of the things that have gone on with the NFL and the ownership. To kind of go with what you said, it's with the good old boys thing.
Mm-hmm.
They have gotten away with a lot of this for so long,
right?
That their same rules and the code of conduct that they want the players to be held to, they're not being held accountable to it. The owners weren't. So these sort of things have always filtered down to, and it's just coming out about coaches and like folks just like Jon Gruden.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you recall that back Robert Kraft. There were him and others that were caught, frequenting massage parlors and things like that. And because of their position and their status and with where they are, it kind of gets swept under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But it
and
was
their
okay
money too,
for all of them to blackball Colin Kaepernick.
Right.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so a lot of these things have always been there, but it was just never called out. So this didn't happen overnight with Jon Gruden, with him being that way. This has been something that has already been there because what was in his heart came out of his mouth, apparently. And folks get, it gets to a point where it becomes a thing where it's a hostile work environment. It became for those cheerleaders and for people that finally spoke up about it. And the concerns a lot of those times with things like that, you worry about retaliation,
right?
And then just having to be, under that sort of things. It's degrading. It's wrong. All of those things and remarks by him or anyone who would say it that would be in the position that he was in, because he's not going to have, Colin Kaepernick's not going to have the same opportunities as Jon Gruden has had to be an analyst, to have an opportunity to coach. He came behind Tony Dungy, who had successfully made the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you removed him, you sat him down, and you gave Jon Gruden the job, and they win the Super Bowl.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that there. I don't know if I'm kind of straying off the subject, but a lot of the things that have come out from him, it hasn't been anything that's just been that has just come out. It's been there. And when I believe when First Lady mentioned when you talked about the Washington Redskins, or the Washington football team as they call them, they have had a bad history of racism throughout that organization for many years. So I'm about to read a book. My daughter Cara, who you gave piano lessons to, got me onto a couple of different books and talks about a lot of those things that are going on. I believe the gentleman's name was Bruce Allen, that was associated with the Redskins for all those years of the racism and the things that went on. But anyway, I'm shut up. I'll shut up now. I just wanted to put in my 2 cents about that. Whatever needs to come out about it. Jon Gruden, you don't have a place to hide, and the things that you said them. you apologize it and you say you don't have a racist bone, but it's not about the bone that's in your body. It was what was in your heart that came out of your mouth.
Right.
So if the man speaketh, so is he.
That's my 2 cents.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thanks for your feedback. Thanks for your comments. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
All right. We'll talk to you. Thanks for calling in.
All right. All righty. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So a lot of good points there, in terms of, what he's saying. And I think one of the questions now is this really, coming to light? Are people starting to really be held accountable? Because, now some of this stuff, a lot of stuff has been just buried and hidden, and it's always been there. But now it's coming to light.
Yes.
And so is that really going to create change, or is it just, whitewash? You just clean over the windows a bit and then you cover stuff up and move on.
Put a Band-Aid on it.
That'll be the real question. Yeah. Hey, brother-in-law. Hey, you there?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Okay. Thanks for waiting. What's happening with you, man?
No, nothing much, man. I was just listening to the topic, and when we look at this at the athletic institutions of this country, they were built during a time of Jim Crow and racism. So a lot of these athletic organizations was built on racism. We were excluded. We were excluded from even participating until we became a dollar sign.
Yes. Yeah, until we became beneficial.
Once we became a dollar sign
to them.
Now we can participate because now it's a benefit to them.
Sure. And they've certainly taken advantage of it.
This is what I believe. I believe, like, and I'm gonna sway off a little bit, but I'm gonna talk about the Negro Baseball League. During the time of the Negro Baseball League, black people were filling their stadiums. Black people owned the baseball teams. They owned the whole organization. Once we integrated with them, they owned us.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, but you can understand why they did it, because that's where the money was at, right? So
like you said,
because that's where the money was at, and nobody could run like Jackie Robinson. Nobody could steal a base like Jackie Robinson.
That's true.
Yeah, we've seen it over and over again in terms of when you open up the door to really accept all.
And so they saw the ability, and what they saw us as, they saw. If I could just say it this way, and I'm gonna say it quite candidly, it was like another form of a plantation.
Yes. Yeah. That's what some of the players
we're
actually
doing
expressed.
all the work, but we're doing all the work, but we don't own it.
Exactly.
And you don't get the main benefits of it either. It's not like it's shared.
You don't get the main benefits of it,
right?
Even though you're a millionaire.
These teams have made billions, are worth billions of dollars now.
When we talk about people that don't know or don't understand that they're racist, but yet when they're home in private, they use these derogatory words about certain ethnicities, and I'm speaking particularly of African Americans. They use it in private, and sooner or later, it filters out into the public.
Yes.
And in my opinion, they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what those words mean. Somebody said one day to me, well, black people call one another the N-word. And I said to them, well, I've seen Italians and other ethnicities call one another derogatory words. I've seen that happen. But when I see it, I know I better not go in the midst of that group of people and say those words.
Right.
Exactly.
Now they can call one another those derogatory words. Not that I'm condoning it. I don't condone it at all.
Right.
But why are you so bent or so interested in saying that word anyway?
Right. And when you partake in such language and name calling with the other cultures, then you open up the door. You open up the window to be called a barrage of derogatory names as a black person. So I understand refraining from that. Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. So and I'm so I just believe they know exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's still a mess, right? It's been a mess. It's still a mess. You see these things.
Everybody knows the history of that name, that word.
You see these things get exposed, and the real question is, are people really going to be held accountable, and is there really going to be change? I mean, that's the key question. Are people going to be held accountable, and is there going to be change? And so, what we're seeing now are some things. Again, the significance of this is that the NFL represents such a significant part of American culture, and the ownership of it represents such a major amount of money.
Yes, it does.
That and the impacts the culture so much that if there isn't change at that level, you have to wonder how there will ever be change. All right, Bishop, we're going to let you go. We're going to jump over to something else. Thank you for calling. We'll talk to you next time.
Yes, thank you.
All right, bye-bye. So I want to jump off a little bit of something that was alluded to in there, because we talked about people, how, making money off of other people, right? And this is an interesting time that we're sitting in right now, because, there's, how do you describe it? There's so much going on right now in terms of our economy.
Yes.
Right? You have an economy that's been turned upside down. You have people, you have businesses that had almost, gone down to such a level, now are trying to grow again, and they can't find enough people to hire.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But now everywhere you go, I was just telling a young man today, everywhere you go, people were talking about, we need people. Not only here, but all throughout the country.
Exactly.
All kinds of jobs. People are like, I can't, we do business in my job, and we try and hire people in to do different things, even for the church. And trying to hire people in to do stuff is just so difficult because everybody's trying to hire people.
Right.
We had somebody, I had to have one of my cars towed a couple weeks ago. And I had my, the insurance company calling to find a tow truck agency that would come get the car. And I'm waiting on the phone, 10, 15 minutes later. He calls, he comes back on, he says, I can't find a tow truck company to come to your. I was like, wait a minute. I said, look, it's not even a rush. Just whenever they come, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Calls one back. He says, okay, I got somebody. They're going to come and get it. The person comes to get it. It is the manager that's in the tow truck. He's telling me, I just finished 5 interviews this morning. I'm trying to hire some people to drive the trucks.
Drive the trucks. Oh my goodness.
So he's out driving the trucks, right? It's just like every industry is like that. But in the midst of this now, this topsy-turvy, all these people are looking for jobs. People are striking and leaving jobs now like never before. Like all of a sudden, there are all these strikes and people walking away from their jobs. Good Morning America
walking away
did an excellent report this week.
Yes, they did.
It's only like 2 minutes. I would play it, but I think the powers that be or on streaming probably wouldn't like it, even though it is public. Hey,
yes, it is
public.
But,
it's 2 minutes. If you get a chance, go see Good Morning America, John Deere. And he talks about all the different things that are going on right now, the companies and the people that are striking. So I'll give you just the numbers, greater than 10,000 employees, right?
Yes.
Are striking from John Deere right now. And they're striking because here's the justification. They said the profits for the company are up 61%.
Exactly.
They said the CEO salary over the COVID time has gone up 160%.
Yes.
And their pay has gone down. And so I guess they offered them like a 5% raise. And they were like, no. That ain't working right now. Y'all making money. You paying money.
Right.
You're paying money and still making money. And you won't give us but a little bit of trickle here.
Exactly.
So 10,000 workers like, look, we're out until y'all decide to share the wealth. We're out. And they're not the only ones. Kellogg's company, 1,400 people on strike, too many long hours, working 7-day work weeks.
Yes.
And so they're on strike, 1,400. The movie industry has nearly 60,000 people that are threatening to go on strike as of Monday, right? TV and crew members, they're saying, look, we need real breaks. You guys are working us all the time.
Right.
We're so
overworked, underpaid.
60,000. Kaiser Permanente hospitals, 24,000 nurses, other healthcare workers saying for pay and work conditions, they're going on strike. So you got all these companies that all of a sudden are dealing with, their people deciding, look, we got to get paid or we're walking.
Exactly.
Right? Now get this last one. 4.3 million Americans quit their jobs in August. That's 2.9% of the entire U.S. workforce. They're talking about, the rate of unemployment being what? It's like 6, 7, 8, 9% or something like that. 3% of the workforce quit in August.
Done.
That's crazy, right? People are walking away from their jobs like nothing in a time because there's so much demand for jobs.
There are a lot of jobs available.
People can
right now.
leave a job and are more comfortable leaving because there are jobs available.
Exactly.
So, the question becomes, is it finally now the reverse time of the U.S. laborer, right? Because for once, the U.S. laborer has got options.
Exactly.
Usually people stay at their jobs and they stay with what they're making because they don't have
any other choices.
Right? So they're kind of stuck there and there's only so much they can do. But right now there's so many jobs out there that people are saying, look, either pay me or I walk.
Exactly.
I'll find something better.
Exactly.
Right? I don't recall ever seeing a time like this.
We are retiring, collecting our pension, and still working.
Not only are you
that
still
has
working,
happened,
they're calling you
they're
back
calling
to work.
you back. Exactly.
Right?
Educators. They're calling educators back because they need educators.
Yeah.
Because they're like, those that could retire,
Too many are retired.
Exactly. Should have treated us right.
The school. Look at the school buses. They started the school
Even
year.
the school buses,
they started the school year, and they could not get enough people to drive school buses. So they were calling back retired drivers. Driver's license, please, can you come back? Please, we need you. Come back to work. We need you to drive buses.
Exactly.
The school district in Rochester here actually had to delay the start of school because they did not have enough school bus drivers to get people to the schools, and they were having the parents bring them to school.
Exactly.
So
you know what? People also learned during COVID and quarantine. People learned how to stay home and still make money. People learned how to stay home and work. Yes, people did adapt. So now they're like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm comfortable with it. I don't need to go back.
Well, the other thing is people that did work and learn how to work from home are like, well, why do I need to go back in the office?
Why? Right, exactly.
Right? I can do everything from you've set
You're
us up
doing
to do everything from home. So why do I need to go back in office? There are some companies that are actually either selling or not using their offices anymore. Amazon was going to make people come back to work, and they changed their tune and changed the option for them to go back to work. Several companies are shifting their mindset, number one, because they don't want to lose the employees. Right. So you have employees, obviously Christmas season is coming in, and they're giving all kind of incentives and hiring people for Christmas season. It used to be you'd be begging, trying to get a Christmas job. Right? You better start early till you can better start early. Now they are giving people incentives. They're giving them cash incentives for not only coming but staying through the holidays. Yes. All this kind of. So I've never seen this kind of demand in terms of the job market.
So yeah, people are making
demands. The question is, some of this intentional? I believe it has to be. People are making decisions to say now is the time to strike.
Exactly, and and people do feel like they are overworked and underpaid because so many people have left the workforce. So the people that are remaining, or the people that they're hiring, they're really working an awful lot. They're working long hours. Yep. And it's very stressful.
Well, that's true. It's they've had to make up for it because of these shortages.
The shortage.
So you look at like some of these new waiters and waitresses.
Oh my goodness!
And they're just over their head, right? They're coming in and they're learning what they're doing.
Exactly.
They're slammed.
They're
and
learning
as
they go.
Right. So they're running around like crazy, and they're trying to. Carl said Amazon brought flyers to his church on Sunday
and
trying to get people trying to hire people, right?
Yes. You can get a job now if you want to work.
If you want to work.
If you want to work, you can work.
But now you can be picky about what job.
Exactly.
You get. And that's the unique difference, is that people can decide, they can be choosy. And so that's why people can leave, their current job and just go out and venture, Now, for a while there, it was very easy for people to do that because there were incentives from the government, all the stimulus things that took place last year. And so people were able to not work and in some cases make more money not working than working. And a lot of stimulus money has gone away, but people have had almost over a year and a half to adapt their lifestyles.
Exactly.
Right? And so some of them don't necessarily like they have to go back to work. Some of them decided they don't want to go back to work for some other company again. And they want to be in that position. It shifts mindsets.
It does.
When you
and
give
some
that
people,
amount of time.
right, they want to work independently,
Right. And then others are saying, look, why should I keep working on this job when there's so many other opportunities out there?
Exactly.
So I'll leave here. Somebody will pick me up. They'll give me an cash bonus. They'll do this, that, and the other for you.
Exactly.
So we're looking at hiring some people right now, and it's tough.
Yeah.
Because people are sitting back saying, well, maybe I'll leave where I'm at, and maybe I won't. What are you going to do to make me want to leave? Because I may not want to leave, or I may leave.
Right.
Right? It is a
it's shifted.
It is a market for the laborer to really kind of call a lot of shots. And so, by the way, for those of you out there that are maybe in the job market or going in the job market, understand that this is a time where you have a lot of leverage.
Yes.
Right? And you can take advantage of that. I retired from U of R Strong in 2018. Some medical concerns, but mostly better quality of life. I found out recently that they would take me back on one leg, but didn't write when I was there. Right, so they wouldn't do you right.
They
while
wouldn't
you were
do you
there.
right, but they want
but
you
now
back.
They'll take you back in a heartbeat.
I know exactly. Exactly.
Come on down.
People are actually.
We'll pay you more.
We'll pay you more.
Yes.
Yes.
You got more vacation. What do you want?
Exactly.
What do you want?
People are actually moving to other cities and other states and making more money.
Well, think about
making more money, being more respected.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I left and I moved. I'm here in Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of jobs are available right now.
We talked about
making a whole lot more money, plus able to collect from my retirement.
Well, we talked
so
about
why stay?
Talked about the Kaiser Permanente hospital folks leaving.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of with the mandate that just happened in the medical professions, and people were like they're saying like 10% or something like that, 10 to 15% of people are saying I'm not going to get vaccinated. I don't want to do that. Right.
Right.
They're willing to lose, and we've said this before, when they're willing to lose their job over it, they're serious. But again, fallback. If this state don't want me,
another state will. I have a friend. She did that. She left New York State as an educator. Okay. She retired. She's in Florida working because they need educators. She's making a whole lot more money than she was making in the job in New York State.
They will pay you.
They will take you. They will pay.
They will pay
you what you are worth. They will bend over backwards for your education and your experience.
You know what? At this point,
it counts.
At this point, they'll pay you more than you're worth.
They will pay you.
They will take.
They will pay.
Listen, there are people that will take some raggedy workers right now just to have some. I saw on television.
I know.
Right here, Roger, on television. Some of the folks that were trying to hire, for the restaurants.
Exactly.
They were like, we get these resumes in, we go through them.
Yes.
They would examine, decide who they're going to hire. Now they're like, look, if you come in, we will hire you.
Exactly.
If you don't work out, we'll figure it out later, right?
We'll figure that out. But
they are not saying no to people.
No.
So when people say to me, I can't find a job, something ain't right.
Something's not right.
Let's talk. Let's work this out because people are all over. I mean, Wegmans had a fair a couple weeks ago, a job fair where they were trying to hire people for Wegmans. All over the place, people want jobs.
Yes.
So the point of this being, it is a labor market right now, and people are starting to realize that and respond accordingly.
Yes,
right?
and respond accordingly.
And keep in mind, it's virtually always been the opposite way around. You have to convince the boss to hire you, to give me a raise, you got to convince, everybody to do this. And now it's like, look, hey, you can't, I can't work for this. You got to do better than this. Right.
People want to, now you will value, you will value your employee. You will value my work, my expertise. You will value my knowledge.
So it's going to be, we
you
need to
will
watch.
value what I have to offer.
We need to watch and see where these strikes go, because I'm betting they're going to win quite a few of them.
Oh, this is
I'm betting they're going to get their way
very
on
interesting
quite a few
time.
of them.
Yes.
So we'll
People
see.
are like, I don't want to work hard. I'm working smart.
Hey, and
They're doing
in these
working
cases,
smart.
a lot of these folks, these groups that are striking, are groups that that truly are on the fringe. Like I said, working 7 days a week and working overtime, and they've been trying. Now look at what's happening right now out in LA, in the shipyards, right? They're driving them now to work like crazy because all the shipping is so backed up. You see all these pictures out in LA and the harbors out there of all these ships just stuck out there, just waiting, right? So now they're calling the shipyards to work 24 hours. Whoever wants a job and says they can't find one
is a lazy lima bean.
Listen, I'm just for the record, that was a quote. I did not say that. I was reading a quote by
I agree with you.
by one of the people who commented. That is not the views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those.
I agree.
Man, what was I saying? I was talking about the shipyards, right? So they're got them working. And again, for a while that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm bringing money in my pocket. I'm happy. But that could go on for a long time. And sooner or later, the folks working out there are gonna be like, "Hey, look, we're tired of this, right? This is just too much."
Yes.
And that's what's happening in so many places by this chain reaction, because there's less workers out there, because people are trying to fill in the gaps. Again, with the movie industry, now they're ramping back up again because they're seeing that these movies are actually selling again. People are going out to the movies again.
Yes.
They're making money. So yes, that whole industry now is ramping back up, and they want to catch up. Because here's the thing with most businesses, they don't accept the fact that they didn't make money last year.
Right.
They want to make up.
They want to make up
for what they didn't
make.
make.
The difference.
They don't want to just make what they used to make. They want to make up.
Right.
So now you're pushing all this stuff through,
right,
and you're putting all that intensity back on your employees. Same thing, Kellogg's, right? Because there's such high demand now for these food industries.
Oh,
and so you're driving them. And it'll be interesting to see the chain reaction that takes place as one group goes on strike and another one. They look at them and they're like, look, we should too. I think you're going to see this
chain reaction
go through. And so we'll see how that impacts. Because that's going to overall start having impact not just on individual businesses, but on the whole industry and market as a whole.
Exactly. Like my brother here, Bishop Clark, is saying that the healthcare workers, there's a high demand.
Very high.
For healthcare workers.
Even before this.
Exactly.
But now,
yes, they're making crazy money.
Yeah. With COVID, and they're in high demand. They're working
long, right, overtime and the whole
under
thing.
Duress, under stress, physical stress,
mental
disease, mental stress. All these different things are going on.
Yeah,
so all these things are happening around the. James 5:4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud. Cry, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord. Hey.
Oh, yes, thank you for that scripture.
Yeah, it's coming out. Say it's coming out, y'all. Come on, lift your hand and say it's coming up. Here we go. So it's coming.
Oh.
I don't remember ever seeing a time like this. Never. I can't even think of a time in history where there has been such a
says
flip,
amen.
where there's been such a flip like this in terms of power for the labor. It's always been the other way around.
It has.
So it's gonna be interesting to see how this drive goes and changes the economy, right? And think about it from the president's standpoint. He gets so much pressure for the unemployment rate, right? And for the jobs rate. And now people aren't taking the jobs, so the employment rate is not improving, and the jobs rates are going down, right? And so he's got pressure to say, how do we change this?
How do we change it?
Well, people aren't taking the jobs.
They're not taking.
It's not like they're not there. People don't want the job. No,
people like
no, that job, right?
No, sir, massa. I ain't picking no cotton.
Put a couple of put some more dollars on it, and maybe I'll think about it. But for now, I'm good. I've figured this out. Right. So it's a very strange time, folks. Our time is winding up. It's been a good conversation. A couple of interesting topics. Hope everybody's enjoyed themselves. Those that will catch this later, hope you enjoy it. And I do suggest, that the GMA article I mentioned is real interesting. You go online, you can find that.
That is very good.
And all kind of other things about things that are going on. We'll be back, obviously, next week with more, because things keep happening. So as long as things keep happening, we keep coming back.
We keep talking.
So I got more to talk about. So join us next week. We'll be here next week again on Saturday night, 8 o'clock. And we'll keep talking about the things that come up. Line up. Y'all can line up your own topics, right? We find ours. You line up yours. You bring yours in. We'll bring ours in. And we'll find some good stuff to have some serious conversations about and have a little fun along the way as well. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll be at service. And we have our live stream going on 11:30 a.m. There's a special service that's happening at our church next week. This Sunday. So feel free to come and check it out, be with us, or you can also tune in 11:30. We're gonna have a good time tomorrow morning. All right, back at it Wednesday. We've been doing our midweek Bible study, and this series has been popping. So invite everybody to join us Wednesday night for 1st and 2nd Samuel. A lot of times people think Old Testament. I'm like, what am I gonna get out of that? But man, people are like all over this. So
yes, this is a very, very good series, and you are really bringing it forth in a way that people can really understand. It's very, very insightful.
Well, there is a lot there to get.
There's a lot.
And sometimes we think it's just about the stories, but when you really get into the scenes and what's happening,
make it relatable.
and how that relates to things I may be going through.
Yes.
There is a lot there for you. So join us Wednesday night at 7 p.m. as well. And then we'll be back next Saturday, okay?
Yes.
So tomorrow, Wednesday, Saturday, whatever else happens in between, everybody have a good evening. Hope you enjoyed the program. If you did, don't forget to share it with somebody. Let somebody else know about it and tell them to join with us. When we come on back, you can share it, and we'll just have a good time together. All right, everybody have a good evening. We will see you tomorrow morning at 11:30. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Here we go.